Hello, all of you beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Unicorn Chef. As always, we love you cooking along and being active in the chat. For those of you who've been doing this for a while, you can see how the chat along with the food can get a little bit spicy, so that's almost half the fun. Use hashtag Unicorn Chef for anything you make. We'd love to see what you cook too. Jonathan, first question, what charity are we highlighting tonight and how can folks get involved?
Water Wheel Fish Foundation. It was a charity founded in 1997 by the eponymous band Fish from Vermont. They have to date given millions of dollars to funding children's music education in lower served communities around the country. So now they're going on 24 years, and I think they just opened up a sister organization called the Divided Sky Fund that is dealing with rehab in underserved communities in New York and Vermont. So they might at the very least be sister organizations because they're both founded by the band. But children's education is huge. I think music and kids finding passion early in life, whether it's tech, whether it's music, whether it's cooking, is important. And they serve that end. So they can be reached at Waterwheel Fish. And I believe the waterwheelfoundation.com. You can just Google search it. So they're always doing initiatives, and they've got trinkets and stickers and T-shirts and stuff that you can buy to help fund their mission.
That's great. Yeah. So this show's been going on for almost a year. We've raised over $11,000 already. Wow. And look forward to continuing those good works, making the world a little bit better and our kitchens a little tastier. First question, as we start the technique part of the show, what are you drinking?
All right. Well, that is important to my technique and to my method in madness. We are finishing off the bottle of Knob Creek. Corporate sponsorship welcome if possible. That is the 100 proof. You need that extra 10% alcohol to fight the nerves and wake up the taste buds. So, yeah, to the cooking part of the show. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a lot of fun. I've had a chance to review some of the other episodes and some of the luminaries that have appeared before me. So I'm in I'm in august history. So I'll try to stay with it. I'm from New Orleans originally. I was a chef for 15 years, and those two things being true, I know how to make a gumbo. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Since this isn't radio, I'm going to try to visually show you guys as much as I can. And where I can't, my illustrative language will pick up the slack. So we start with any gumbo. We start, as we do with any gumbo. Let's see, is that centered? Perfect. With onions. You might say a roux, but in Louisiana, a lot of times we cook onions first, and then we add the flour and the additional fat to that, so you already have like an onionized roux that you can just readily toss into stuff. Also keeps it from boiling up when you're making like 15 gallons of roux at the same time, because, well, in New Orleans, the flour has a tendency to hold on to moisture, so it's like adding water to it. So we're going to heat up our pot to just below blazing. In the instructions, I said when you caramelize onions, you can always cut the time in the pan off and the amount of time you have to stir it by pre-roasting, if that can show up, pre-roasting your onions.
Yeah, I got
mine.
And
that's gonna
pre-roasted.
Oh, look at that, steaming and delicious. I'm gonna try not to look at the screen, try to look at the camera, but and I'll try to remember to breathe. All right, so yeah, into that pan we're gonna add about, let's call it 2.5 healthy tablespoons of either neutral flavored vegetable oil or a light flavored olive oil.
Hey, actually, so question here, Chef. I mean, vegetable oils are obviously going to be pretty standard. Olive oil can have quite a range of flavor, but in something like a gumbo, where I mean we have so many other flavors, particularly some spicy, really strong flavors, is the oil really going to make that big of a difference?
Likely no. No, it's going to come down to personal preference. You can use safflower oil or, anything you want. No, you're right. We're cooking the hell out of vegetables and a bunch of other stuff. So So, as you informed me before we began filming, in absence of being able to find Chile gumbo powder, which is ground sassafras root, you are going to use the other traditional thickener, which is okra, which is actually the namesake of gumbo. The eggplant and okra kind of medium plant that they grow in Central Africa and Western Africa was called gumbo. And if you go to Africa, every gumbo has got eggplant in it, and it probably doesn't have meat in it.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Woo! Woo! We're cooking now. All right. I hear the sound of my people over there, so that means you're going good. I'm gonna try to stay in frame as best I can.
Do you have a preference on a steel pot or a Dutch oven?
You know what, man? I had a Le Creuset Dutch oven that I loved. That was like $300, and I got into doing bouillets in it, bread, because it makes a great oven. And you know, for some reason, it had about 6 cycles of that before that coating. There you go. Before that coating came apart, and now it's unusable. To be perfectly honest, and I think use the cheapest that you can get that'll last more than once, and then just wear the hell out of it. I'm the same way with knives. You'll see a lot of people fetishize their flatware and the knifeware. And I'll buy a $6 fillet knife at the bait shop, and then use it till it doesn't have a point anymore and throw it away. All right, so we've got a few minutes that we need to bring it down even pre-roasted, as we want to get some color out of them. If you want to cheat a little bit, brown sugar, soy, or Magi seasoning is always an easy way to quickly get some. Look at that. Where did you get that?
At the store. I got a butcher.
You got a butcher who makes andouille?
Yep.
Shadow.
Yeah, no. One of these days, I'd like to try to give it a shot to make my own sausage from scratch.
It's, you know what, man? It's not hard. The hardest thing that you're going to find to do is find a flavor profile that you're comfortable with, and learning how to extrude sausage, which is it's once you get it once, it's the easiest thing in the world. You'll be extruding, wrapping links, extruding, and then the other thing is, when you make sausage, there's no point in making a pound of sausage. You're going to make like 25 pounds of sausage, and then it's how you eat all of the sausage that you've made without turning into a porcine beast. But no, absolutely, man. I've got a 5.5 quart KitchenAid mixer that's got the little attachment for the $40 attachment for sausage extrusion and mixing, and it's scalable if you do it small, or if you do it big, you can do as much as you want.
So I got to give you a warning. We have another authentic Nolans cook in the chat watching you. So you are being judged. You are being judged, sir.
Harshly and surreptitiously, I might add. As all fellow New Orleanians like to do, the city that care forgot. Well, does chat have any questions up to this point before we start sizzling and dizzling? This is the rest of our aromatics. As you see, we have diced celery, diced green bell peppers, rough chopped concassade, peeled and tomatoes, and some green onions. Noticeably absent from this gumbo recipe is garlic, as I don't know if its absence, piqued your curiosity or not, but most people think that garlic is synonymous with any style of New Orleans cuisine, of which gumbo is. I will add that this gumbo is a little bit more southwestern Louisiana, Iberia Parish. So the folks that settled in there were of a much richer Spanish descent. And so that's kind of the cool thing about South Louisiana, that it is that you can travel 30 miles and you'll have 5 different gumbos from 5 different restaurants. But each of those, whatever their lineage of cooking is, whoever the chef is in the kitchen, they might be cooking, a version of a Spanish changuro or of an African style gumbo, or of like something closer to like a.
My garlic's going in.
Go for it. Go for it. I'm not going to preach against it. What it really is I'm a vampire. I've been alive for 900 years, and I've just got really good at hiding it on cooking shows that I've appeared on. So I leave garlic out of all recipes, and I'm good to go. All right, I think I'm going to start adding my aromatics. Green bell peppers go in first because we want to char those, and celery will never char. It'll just turn to water and cellulose. So, I don't know if you hear that little sizzle, folks, for the chat, a little sauciness for the chat. Press F to simmer.
So we got Mike Ellis in the chat. I don't know if you know him. He's about the sauciest guy I know.
I follow Mike Ellis on Twitter, so I'm aware of his sauciness.
All right. Then you also know that he's a thick boy.
That I do. So can we get an informal poll, maybe? Is who at home is attempting this live in tandem with us?
Yeah. Anybody on the chat want to say who's doing it? Mike is calling you out for not following my holy trinity of garlic, onion, and fat.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Mike, you fly to St. Augustine, I'll make you this pot, and then we can litigate it right after that.
The fork has been thrown down.
Yep. So like I said, if you ever want to get a little head start that's not roasting onions, you can always throw a little brown sugar or just soy sauce on the onions. But as much as you can, try to cook them down to damn near carbon ash, because that's what gives a lot of the depth in this lost shrimp gumbo.
Andouille.
Andouille. Yeah, I'm sure he's as purist as he can be. I was told a long time ago that true andouille is smoked half sugarcane, half hickory, and they said anything else other than that's a pork sausage with chili and garlic. But again, that you go to the next bayou over, and there might be a guy that says, I grew up eating the Hillshire Farm Polsko kielbasa, because if you cook it in a spicy sauce, it holds up real good. It's a firm pork sausage, and it stays with it.
Yeah, something I'd like to do, again, anytime I get tomatoes in a recipe, this is Chris Krebs taught me this, is he smokes cherry tomatoes. And so smoked cherry tomatoes, I think, would really add like more of that like smoky flavor that you're kind of going with.
Absolutely. And two, I was going to get to when we added the tomatoes. Really, I mean, honestly, when you're constructing food, you can heat it any way you want. You can add whatever acid you want. It's not like hydrochloric, and you're just basically kind of adding those three things until you create a really good thing. With this being an Iberian or more of a Spanish style gumbo, the tomatoes, we are going to use a sofrito method, which is to basically cook them until they're not tomatoes anymore. And chemically, what's actually going on is the more heat that you apply to a tomato flesh, the more glutaminic acid. It's actually one of like maybe 3 vegetable sources of glutaminic acid. The others being soybeans and mushrooms. So, but when you cook the hell out of these, you get basically, the same compound flavors in soy and Worcestershire sauce that we can taste to like 1 part per 10 million in water. Like our brains are like chestnuts roasting. Our brains just know that, and they know that means unctuousness. So cooking the hell out of them, the sofrito method, which you'll see anywhere from Puerto Rico to the Azores to, Eastern Brazil, that's the same way. But yeah, man, hell, fire roasted tomatoes is good on anything. I could eat those on crackers,
So shout out to Tony, who is actually going to cook this tonight. He's going to make it. And Mike did a pinky swear that he's making it tomorrow.
All right, fantastic.
Gonna hold you to that, Mike. I expect to see pictures.
I tell you, we're gonna be smelling up blocks up and down the United States here. It's gonna be great. Make America shrimpy again. That's the one bad part. I'm turning the shells into shrimp stock and stuff, and I'm like, man, it's great. It smells like a New Orleans kitchen in here. And then about 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh man, all my clothes smell like a New Orleans kitchen. Like, I cooked for 15 years, and I got out, and I eventually ended up in tech. But the impetus that got me out of cooking was my wife had our daughter in 2013, and I would come home from work, and it was the holidays. We're working 11, 12-hour shifts. I'd come home, and all I want to do is hold my daughter, and I'd still have to go, like, take a shower and clean about 1.25 inches of calamari and shrimp guts and, crab carapace and stuff off me. And I said, it doesn't lend itself in a lot of cases. There's some guys who are lucky. I know some family guys who are in cooking 20, 30, 40 years. But there's not a lot, it's, the kitchen is a lot like, first 3 rows at a Steely Dan concert, about 4 divorces per guy. I decided I got to get into something that's a little, I guess, less, it's all taxing. I just got into my other passion, which is, tech and making it work for folks. But yeah, I miss it. I still, it's a labor of love, so you can never get away from it. And, you see a lot of folks who do 20 or 30 years in another career, and they say, oh, I want to go buy a food truck. I want to go start a bakery. I want to start a butcher shop or a boucherie. Hey, go for it. I think that's awesome. We need more slow food in America. We need a lot of people who just like spend all day cooking and then just, share it.
Well, that's what the point of the show is. Let's make the kitchen a little bit easier for everybody. And you keep picking up these different kitchen hacks. And the next thing you know, a year later, you're a pretty good cook.
Yeah, I'm sure you're the biggest benefactor. I wouldn't be surprised if ulterior motive is like, I really need to get good at cooking. So I'm going to invite anybody who makes interesting looking food onto my show and have a captive audience of one for scholarship.
I've been challenged before. I've had folks, request me to do my own thing. I've done some individual stuff.
So what are you passionate about cooking? If you had best friends coming over tomorrow, you get to cook what you want. You don't care what they like. You're cooking something that makes you happy. What is it?
So I think my favorite, and this is going to seem pretty cliche for chefs, is French roast chicken. I have mastered chicken. I make it with a fresh verde out of my own spice garden in the spring and more in the summer, because by spring it's still a little early. But I make my own verde with 7 fresh spices right out of my own garden. And it is you just want to mop it all up.
That's heaven. That's heaven, man. Yeah, no, roast poultry when done right is like supreme cooking, All right. So not to cut you off, I just add the tomatoes. And
we're adding the tomatoes?
I turned the heat up to basically 9. And as it dries out, so basically whether you're cooking marinara, and people are going to argue with me, but whether you're cooking marinara, whether you're cooking like a salchichon, you literally want all of the water to leave the tomatoes physically. You want to hear oil sizzle again before you do anything else to the pan. And it's like, it's like getting the smoke ring on brisket. It takes that extra time, but when you get it, it's worth it. It's one of the few portions you can't power through. There's no hat to sofritoing tomatoes.
I have a Wagyu brisket sitting in the freezer waiting for its day.
Woo! Oh man. One of the good things has been, I'll say, as far as at least social media tropes, has been the amount of people getting into smoked meats. Because an informed clientele is going to elevate whatever industry it is. So if that means barbecue in America's got to get better, and we live in Northeast Florida, we've got some okay barbecue that's available to us. I'm not gonna lie, we got some really good stuff here. But if it elevates barbecue nationally, I'm for that. I think everybody should go get an Oklahoma Joe smoker and smoke 10 pounds of pork a week.
Well, I think what really has unlocked that trend has been the ease, convenience, and popularity of the pellet smokers, right? The press a button, set it, forget it. The pellets are there.
Yeah, the artisan wood chips too. Like once I saw that in like a Publix, I was like, okay, this is mainstream. All the guys, and then of course, you know, you're gonna start getting big green eggs popping up on Shodan, and then people, you know.
Well, so those don't do it, right? The Kamado grills aren't automated, right? Those you're using the thick ceramic. You're getting your your base hardwood charcoal at a temperature that's going to keep. And then you just keep, every about hour to 2 hours throwing your hardwood on. That's what I have. I have a Kamado Joe. And it's easier than like the old school smokers because it has, that ceramic to hold the heat, but it's not that automated one where it's just like, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember about 10 years ago, my dad was one of the ones who got one of the early automated ones. And he still somehow managed to quick smoke the bird in about 3.5 hours. And it was delicious. Don't get me wrong. It was like lightly smoked, lightly roasted, But yeah, they've probably improved it so much since now. You don't have to know anything about smoking meat. Just 15 grams.
And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. Cooking should not be this elitist thing where it's like, oh, well, you have to do it this way. No, do what works for you. Do what tastes good.
I am absolutely. You're right. You're right. I think with smoking meats, just like making pastries, I don't. You got to say like that level of mastery that you could reach, and that level of understanding of like thermodynamics of what's happening chemically between the smoke and the meat, the proteins in the meat, and seeing that 100 times. I guess everybody can go through life without that. Maybe I'm fetishizing it as a chef, but I don't know. There's something really pleasurable in getting really good at something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're right. Whatever gets more delicious food in people's mouths and people's houses is ultimately the best.
All right. So you talked about how in 2015 you stopped professionally cooking, chefing. So what do you do now?
Right now I am one of the proud 20 million Americans who's homeschooling their children. My wife is she's a professor at the local college, and things have slowed down for her. But we were in the position where we weren't going to send them to school, and we weren't going to have them fall back. So I've stayed back, and we've kind of balanced that. Luckily with vaccines coming out, I think my wife's going to, close to getting her scheduled shot. Educators are in the next round for Florida. And I think you can buy one now if you have or you can pay for a doctor's appointment. If you have a medical vulnerability letter from your doctor, you can go to like Publix or Winn-Dixie and go and get it, or to a private doctor's office who have it. I hope we don't get flagged by talking about that stupid V word. But so anyway, with that being said, we're going to get the kids back into school this fall. So I'll be getting back on the market. Right now, I was in like a tier 2, tier 3 help desk position at a local MSP, and it was a lot of fun. We had 2,300 end users, 2,500 endpoints, and it was a chance to learn a lot as far as enterprise. But security is more where my discipline, I think, is going to lie. So getting ready to sit for the Sec Plus and CISA Plus. Anything else that I can think to get before I get back on the market. But that's what I do right now. I try to get kids to write about Dr. Seuss and how he makes them feel and how they can be good friends. And we do our ABCs and days of the week, and so it's tough. I've had a lot easier jobs than this one, I'll tell you that much. All right, so I don't know if I can accurately give you guys an idea, but if you can see, things are just literally, it's almost like I'm ruining it. Like, you know what I mean? If my mom walked in, she would yell at me for burning the food. But that's sofrito. That's That's honestly just like the fire roasting of the tomatoes. We're building up a ton of flavor compound.
Boom.
Cannot achieve otherwise.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I show a pick. I have to turn this down too.
Oh yeah, that's getting there for sure. Yeah, and like I said, if you want to put a tablespoon of soy or shoyu in there, you'd get that dark caramel, color.
Wait, so hold on. Shoyu would work right now?
I'm sorry?
Shoyu would be a good addition right now.
Yeah. Like
the black garlic shoyu I literally have sitting right next to it. Like, I should add this?
I'm not going to stop you. I think that would be excellent. Yeah. Turn the heat down a little bit before you add it. There's a lot of sugars in there. You'll burn them. But
I think it needs to come down a bit, or else that is not going to.
Yeah, that's going to smell at the house something fierce.
Yeah, it's going to take a couple minutes. All right, well, I'm going to do that because I'm excited about it. Anything I get to use black garlic shoyu in, I'm just
absolutely
all about it.
Absolutely. I think, that's funny, like fermentation, like that's been a big kick recently. Like we found out how to process the hell out of food to make it taste good. And then like the brain's like, well, let's diametrically go the other way. Let's leave food the hell alone and let it rot and then see what it tastes like. You got James Beard winning chefs who are like, showing, I bet that smells good. Who are showing their walk-in and they're like, oh yeah, this is like 9-month-old, whey from cheese that we pressed. And yeah, that's getting funky. Like somehow that guy like knows that's going to end up somewhere tasting good, All right. So I am cooked to shit. So I'm going to turn down my heat a little bit and filter out some shrimp stock. Colander.
What are you filtering out right now?
Shrimp stock.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really more like shrimp and carrots. But it's got some other nourishing items in there. All right. So let that deglaze, as they say. All right. And when you said you were going to use oregano as far as to replace the filet gumbo, I would the oldest thyme that you have in your like if you have like a 2-year-old thing of thyme, which I almost think that everybody does, then that would actually be like perfect. Like 1/8 teaspoon of that, and then that okra will do it.
So what I did here actually is I have so thyme, of course, is not growing right now.
Yeah.
But the leaves in my spice garden were still there. So I actually just put that in with my aromatics and cooked off with the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, then you could probably save yourself the trouble.
There's a good portion of a thyme bush in there.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
All right. So this is just to kind of give you an idea how dark that liquid is. Well, shoot, the lights. There we go. That's just from cooking the tomatoes down to hell and letting those onions really get dark. It's almost got that chocolate shade of gumbo before ever doing anything to it with the filet or anything else. All right. And are you going to eat it with rice or potato salad? You're going to go
Rice.
rice. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that'll go better with that boudin. All right. So now with liquids added, are you at liquids added?
We're adding the stock in.
Yeah. If you're at the color and consistency you want, then absolutely. Now it's time to add the stock.
All right, doing it. Okay. Also, good time to add my bay leaf.
Yeah. Get some parsley chopped up. So now with the liquid added to those nourishing items in the gumbo, we can go ahead and set about to seasoning our shrimp. With you, I would go ahead and wait for that water to come up to a boil, then add your okra, and then let that okra cook for about 4 minutes at a kind of a steady, hard simmer. Let those pods burst, get all that dextrose starch out, and cooking up that stuff. And for anybody following at home who's got to it, you're going to add the gumbo before we add the shrimp, bring it up to a boil, let it thicken, reduce it, then add the shrimp, and let them poach at a simmer.
Dude, this already tastes good.
Hey, it's funny, man. You don't need much. Like that's just like you said with the roast chicken. You treat every individual ingredient the way it's supposed to be treated, then 5 things can sing. So that's that. I guess that's probably more and more chefs. That's coming more and more apparent too. That we can overcomplicate things by adding too much.
Your kids aren't quite at that age, but in a few years, revisit that statement.
Man, I don't think that's anything I've ever said, and I live a guilt-free life as a result. So, no, I'm sure. I'm sure. Like they're already pretty complicated, man. They're too much fun as it is. No, we're real lucky, man. We've got 2 kids who, lucky they're not teenagers, and this thing, like I said, just was like, okay, it's full-time daycare at home. Let's all huddle up in the house and treat it like a big old raft and just float on this dangerous ocean until the storm passes. And they've both bought into it very much. So,
lucky man.
I am, man. I got to remind myself that, every once in a while, but I sure am. I sure am. All right, so to season our shrimp, if you got dried thyme or cayenne, now's the time that you'd sprinkle it on there. And we're also going to get it with some, the only hot sauce, that's Crystal. Hopefully your fellow Crescent City, she might be a Louisiana, if it's who I'm thinking of from Twitter. I saw her post up, but she might be a Louisiana hot sauce. We're a Crystal family and remain a Crystal family. But that's Crystal hot sauce again.
I have to give a shout out because this is a previous unicorn chef, Keenan Skelly from last summer. She gifted me her own branded hot sauce. That's what I'm going to be using.
Then get on that. So yeah, about a tablespoon and a half on the shrimp. We're gonna get some salt. And that's all going to sit there and just chemically marinate for about 5 minutes. The vinegar and the hot sauces should work to denature some of the proteins in the shrimp. Kind of get that pre-poached softness.
All right, Jonathan, let's do something to help you. So you're talking about probably sometime this summer, maybe the fall. You're probably not going to have to homeschool anymore. You're working on some certs.
Yeah.
What's your dream job? What do you want us to do to help you to try to get that?
Man.
What kind of job do you want?
Don't ask that question because I haven't.
I'm not a sports agent, all right? I can't replace Drew Brees with you, all right?
Man, I've been lucky to work at a good shop already. I would like to say, if I had to say, if I had an NFL draft card, it would say raw talent. But no, man, if you've got any friends who run shops or have socks who need a tier one who understands enterprise IT and has worked on plenty IR projects and plenty of remediations, a recruiter or something like that, absolutely, man. No, that'd be killer. I would absolutely love that. Like I said, I'm actually hoping my son's 5th birthday is coming up. Got the grandparents coming in with their COVID vaccine shots, so they're going to come in and have a big party for the 5-year-old. And I was probably going to schedule that first cert then. So given that stance, what would you say to somebody who's about to embark on about an $800 or $900 certification journey, who probably has the pedigree and the knowledge to get these jobs, but doesn't want to waste time because the past 12 months or so has wasted enough time?
All right. Well, first of all, you didn't waste time.
No.
Right?
As far as career progression.
Yeah, no. But I wouldn't even phrase it that way in that context, right? The right hiring manager, the right employer is going to, Jesus Christ, everybody gets a pass for the last year.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in COVID stays in COVID, right? Like we all need to be. I just made it up. I literally just made that up. But the point is, we need to be kinder to ourselves. This is a hard time.
Yeah.
Not just because we get so used to like thinking about what we're dealing with. Well, what we're dealing with is because everything is this way. Everybody is feeling this way. So just get that forgiveness, that kindness, that okayness, and even just the language we use to describe it.
Sure.
So you've done what you needed to do to take care of your family. You're getting through this. You're going to come out and you want to get that job where you can get back into it and do what you need to do to be a breadwinner. Mm-hmm. So frankly, I think most places I wouldn't worry about the cert so much. That's a good amount of money. Yeah. I think it's more the study of it that's valuable because that's going to help you with the interview and that's going to help you with the job.
Sure.
Get involved that way more than worrying about paying for the exam for the cert. Because I think most of these places, unless they're tied to the government that has strict requirements like that, they're not going to really hold that against you. They're going to be like, oh, I like this guy. He's personable. He's going to work well with customers. This is somebody who's going to make users feel good, and he knows what he's doing. Like, that's your quality. So that's what I would focus on.
That's the kindest anything's everybody said to me on a YouTube cooking show. I really appreciate that.
Is this your only YouTube cooking show?
That I know of.
Is this like Jonathan's Gone Wild? Like you've been on shows you didn't even remember?
2 years of Ambien in the early days of YouTube. No, I'm kidding.
There's stories about Florida, man.
You're right. No, that would be a funny sleepwalking incident. You wake up and you start trying to remake the Emerald Show from back when he was, yeah. Bam!
You take some Ambien and then bam! It's the next day.
Yeah.
Whose clothes are these? Bam!
Bitch, you talking bam! Yellow boy's yelling at you. All right. I think our shrimp have done their necessary saline bath. So for you, are you at a rolling boil with that okra? Has okra's kind of exploded in their okra-ness?
I need about 2 more minutes, but I have done my own trick. I assume your shrimp are completely raw? Yes, mine are not. So I do a trick where I blanch them and then I peel them and then I throw them in at the very end where they only need like 2 minutes in there because most of the flavor isn't coming from my shrimp because I've got my stock flavored with the shells.
Sure.
So you can actually see the shrimp on the outside for me are actually already orange, but the inside are not cooked. So this is just a little trick I use. Makes it easier to shell. Because I hate eating food where I have to shell it when it's like in a sauce.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've peeled these, but if this wasn't for like public consumption, I don't peel them for my family. Home gumbo, you peel your own crab, you peel your own shrimp.
Yeah. So anyway, you go ahead on your shrimp. I'll catch up because I don't need as much time.
My filet gumbo's going in now. So we're at a medium simmer. You want a good simmer before you add your filet gumbo. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight, I'm gonna see myself a meal.
I really like that movie.
Which was that? Which one was that? Was that Chef?
Princess and the Frog.
Oh, the Disney one. Yeah, that was one of their. Honestly, it's kind of maligned in the period that it is. I personally think that was in that kind of '90s aughts heyday. The music's fantastic. And honestly, John Goodman could read the back of a box of Oreos and I'd watch it.
By the way, when are we in Worcestershire?
At the very end,
Okay.
the hot sauce in Worcestershire in the gumbo is as close to service as possible because obviously all that vinegar and all that stuff's going to react and, you kind of want it in there in its virgin form. In fact, there's a lot of shops that just leave Worcestershire and hot sauce on the table and let you deal with it.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
At least in Baton Rouge. Let's see. Yeah, so I think I'll wait with you to. Well, I guess you're ahead on the shrimp. So
I'm ahead on the shrimp. So you get yours cooking. I'm probably about 3 minutes after you.
I've got my sous chef in a surprise appearance. I've got my sous chef who helped with all of the crustaceans. Adeline, say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you have fun picking the shrimp?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have you picked shrimp?
2.
2? You did a whole pound and a half?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Adeline, do you like unicorns?
No.
Yeah, you do. She's got a unicorn on her favorite hoodie. Look at his shirt. It says 99% unicorn.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Look at it.
Oh, now I see it.
Now you see it, yeah.
Well, if you like unicorns, I can send you some unicorn stickers in a coloring book.
Do you want some unicorn swag?
Okay.
Oh, can you say thank you?
All right.
Awesome.
Twist the horn. It's okay. We'll get it to you. It's no problem. Jonathan, make sure I get your address so I can send it to you.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. She was dying to come out here. She told her teachers that her dad was on a cooking show tonight. So she's a proud little girl.
How your shrimp coming?
Mine are good. They need about another 2.5 minutes and then 2 minutes to set. But I have a feeling we're doing all right on time. This, a 1 hour gumbo is impressive. So if these are even slightly tasty, I say that we've reached the mark that some of the doubters might have said we could not reach. No, I think it's going to be excellent. I'm extremely excited.
All right, I'm throwing my andouille in. My okra is thickened.
Beautiful. Did you cut them up into coins, or do you like to do the cross section? What do you got?
I did coins.
Perfect. Yeah, a coin, it'll burst and some of the fat will leave. I like it. It gets you that good greasy stew.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it smells incredible. It's kind of intoxicating.
I've also diced my onion. I put my eggs into coins.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the truth. I was gonna make a tech like Creole joke that like New Orleanians put chicory in their coffee, so they were actually the first ones who did extensible work. But I was like, that's not gonna work out, and then I just landed. I don't know why I cautioned myself against making the joke. I'm gonna go ahead and make it. So I'll recover by showing. I hope this doesn't get censored by YouTube because this is.
Oh, that brown, yes.
Yeah. There, see, well, that light gets it good. I need a, it's hard to find one of these ring lights. I guess everybody's OnlyFans page has made the proper lighting for web shows. It's difficult to come by.
Well, I'm glad you joined me for OnlyPans.
Oh, yeah. That is the good stuff. All right. White rice. The stuff that I saved last night. It might not got saved. That's all right. That's okay. We got that. Potato salad. All right. Yeah, I'm about, I'll call it 90 seconds away from adding Worcestershire and hot sauce and then turning the heat off and then giving it that good minute to kind of come to table temp. And then we can definitely enjoy some.
Oh, when do we add eggs?
Basically, you know what? That's like a garnish at the end. Like you can either let it get warm in there and lose a little bit of its intensity, or you can just kind of have it on the side to where they'll chop it up with a spoon and kind of work it in. It's it's really how you want it. It's just meant to extend that shrimp and just kind of increase the richness a little bit. Oh, that's lights out. Oh. This out. I'm trying not to make noise with cleaning up pots, and now my OCD is like clean up the pots now. So if you hear some people tanking, that's just my rhythm section getting warmed up.
All right. Well, since we're probably a couple minutes from plating, what last words of wisdom, or would you like to share with everybody?
Oh man, as soon as possible, go see live music and support musicians who want to make a living making music. I think everybody's real excited to get back to life with vaccines and coming out and stuff, and everybody wants to go hug their grandparents and see their folks. But if you could, make some, even if it's like a bar punk band, like just go out there and live for the rest of us as early as you can, and let's make Saturday night smelly and grungy again. But I'm not good for words of wisdom. That's.
You're helping other families that live off of art, so that's wisdom.
Yeah, I know, true. All right, heat is off. Hot sauce and Worcestershire going in.
How much Worcestershire?
For this recipe, 3 to 18 drops. Now, like 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, 5 drizzles. Really, what your tolerance is. I honestly, if you cook it for a minute, most of the flavor goes away and you can re-add it. I mean, some of it does. But no, I personally love it so much I don't even think it's too much. Cha-cha-cha.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Hey, buddy. Hey, no, he can come on and say hi. He's too cute to not share with the world. Oh, is he going to take a bath? All right.
He can say goodbye. He can say hi before he takes a bath.
I know. I think he changed his mind after earlier.
It's a family-friendly show.
I would.
Well,
say
it is tonight anyway.
No, we kept it at a real slim PG-13. I think we've been doing good. We're not straight to video yet. God, that's such a anachronistic joke. You could make that with a 20-year-old right now, and they'd have no idea what that means. Straight to video.
Well, if you want, do you even know what the update to that joke is as of like the last week?
Oh, is there an update?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Do you know what an NFT is?
NFT. Is this like in a joke form, or is this
No, this is a real thing. This is actually real life. So Kings of Leon, you know the band Kings of Leon?
Oh, a non-fungible token. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
They are releasing their albums as non-fungible tokens with a limited number. So just like, like that rare vinyl record that there are only so many of, they're now doing that in the digital age. So exactly. Direct to video is now direct to NFT.
Direct to NFT. You know what? It's so funny. I've got a great artist here in town who's like, he was like, "Hey, I wanted to start doing it's kind of like a cryptocurrency thing, but it's built on that, and it's NFTs." I was like, "Well, send me an article about it." He's like, "I just got their Instagram post." I'm like, "I'm gonna need to dig in a little bit more than that." But as he explained it, he said that what they're going is for non-rivalrous goods, rivalrous rather. Would it be non-rivalrous? I can't remember now. Anyway, one or the other. Okay. We are plating up here. I've got a patient wife in the background who has been ready to eat for a while.
I'm ready when you are.
All right. So here we are, Unicorn Kitchen. Press A to applaud.
All right. Here we go. Get in there. I need your face.
Hold on. How do I get them both in? Why is this so difficult?
Yeah, just back up a little bit. There you go. There you go. You got it.
There we go. Yeah.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so much for teaching us authentic Louisiana gumbo.
There's as many gumbos as there are chefs in the world, so every one of them is authentic. That's the good part about it. So, but this is a very specific little Bayou's version of gumbo. So,
well, I really appreciate it. And if you could highlight your charity again so some people can help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's at Water Wheel Fish, the Water Wheel Foundation out of Burlington, Vermont. If you guys can go by and buy a sticker or just send a donation, they've done great work for 24 years, and I can only imagine that they'll continue doing it for at least another 24 years. So my wife is actually pressing me to do a play out of the namesake of this song, which is called Gumbo. So as we eat, is that bad? Is that good? Is that audio good?
It's not that great.
It's not that great. It's not that great.
No, we can play it afterward when we end the live broadcast.
Absolutely. She was going to be mad at me if I didn't try. She's actually written 2 notes, so I had to give it a shot. But yeah, man, look, let's go ahead and eat, right? I think we should taste the wares. Am I wrong, or is eating on camera wrong?
No, you are welcome to it.
All right.
And for those of you at home, we look forward to seeing your pictures of what you make. Tony, you later. Mike, you promised to make this tomorrow. #Unicorn Chef. Show what you make. Next week is Dr. Paul Rosenzweig. I'm not going to share how naughty he's been on CNN before, but he's going to be calling in all the way from Costa Rica. So
all right.
Look forward to seeing you all next week. Take
Bryce,
care.
thanks so much, man. I had a blast.